Hello everyone, so I'm pretty much just making a little guide on what it takes to get the insanely perfect relic on rush hour. Lots of people have been uploading their perfect relic runs, but they haven't really been commentating or giving any tips on how to do it. I tried YouTubing some tips to get past some sections, but no one really gave any tips except this one guy I saw on YouTube, which was pretty helpful, but I thought I might give some of my tips on how to get it. So there are 441 boxes to collect. Some of the grind rail section boxes are pretty annoying. It's a pretty hard level. It's, this video is like 9, almost 10 minutes long, so very hard level to get the insanely perfect relic on. Lots of places to screw up, and yeah, and if you screw up then you have to start over again. So yeah, pretty much with this little box on top of the nitro, not that one, the other one, you don't have to get it. When you blow up the nitros at the end, it will destroy that box for you. I was having a little bit of trouble getting that box, but yeah. This took me 3 or 4 days of attempts. I'm not sure how many hours exactly, but it took a while. It's a very hard level. Especially the ending is probably the hardest part in the level. And when it takes you like 10 minutes just to get to the end and then die, it's really hard. But anyways, if you're going for the insanely perfect relic, then you will probably have to reset a lot, and you will get used to Dingo's section in this level. Dingo's section isn't too hard. There is one part at the end which is pretty tricky, but I'll give you some tips on that when we get to it. And so yeah, this TNT, I've died trying to get that TNT before. Almost fell off there. I just bouncing on it saves like a couple seconds, and I hate running through this every time I die. So yeah, this is a section that's pretty tricky. The end of this section is pretty tricky. I watched the YouTube video and he gave a really good tip, is if you just get to the end, then all of the bots with nitros in their hand will kind of just freeze in place. And then you can kind of backtrack and get the boxes. I lost a mask there, unfortunately, but I've still got one mask left. These are the boxes which you just need to go past, and then when you get to the platform, the bots will freeze. And ideally, if you have 2 masks here, you can kind of just run into the bots and burn your mask to get them out of the way. If not, then you can kind of just stand on the edge and try and not get hit. This is really dodgy here. Yeah, that is very sketchy. Yeah, and I sucked up a nitro. Anyways, that's probably the hardest part of Dingo Dial section. Now, coming up to Tana's section, I think that's her name. There's some pretty tricky spots throughout the whole Tana's section. I've died in pretty much every single spot trying to get the perfect relic. I've died to that little robot thing before, so I kind of just spin him out of the way now. But yeah, just clearing all of the boxes there. You can kind of just walk off the edge and it will force you onto the rail, so yeah. I've died in this section to these robots before. I think, yeah. I've died to this section before. I think the problem is if you start to overthink everything, then you get nervous and then you just stuck on. So try not to overthink everything too much. But yeah, after resetting so many times, it really just seems impossible. Like, yeah. Like having to go through 10 minutes of gameplay to the end section, which is the hardest, and then you die and then you have to start over again. It was really frustrating for me, but I'm happy I finally got it. I've still got, I don't know, about 5 or 6 more levels to perfect Relic on, which is Cortex Castle, the sewers level, and yeah, so those will be fun. So I've died in this part a couple times, well, a lot of times, because the boxes are right after each other. You have to kind of pre-fire your hook to get that metal box thing. I've died a lot to these trains as well, just misjudging my jumps and getting zapped. So this little trash bin thing can get that box that's in the middle, or you can use your hook to get it. But these sections I freaking hate. These are so hard. You just gotta go for it and not overthink it. I found that doing single jumps is the way to go, because if you do double jumps, then it's kind of harder to judge where you're going to land if you do double jumps. But anyways, on to another grind rail section. The boxes that you have to jump for, if you jump a little bit earlier, then you should get them every time. It's hard to, like, the depth perception is a bit weird. I had a bit of trouble when I was first starting out doing this level, but I think you get used to it after a while. I've died to this section before. There's a flaming box. I've died to it a few times. The freaking flaming box is, yeah. It's tricky because the platforms that you're standing on go away after a while, and you don't want to jump on the flaming box when it's flames, but sometimes you have to, because it's the timing thing. And the last section here, which is where I died most of my time, right here. You know, you're gonna be pretty nervous, but just go for it. I just suggest do not overthink it. Try and do single jumps as most as you can. And there we go. On this last, on the last lane, nothing can get you, so you can kind of relax. But there we go. I finally got the insanely perfect relic. Took me ages, but I did it. And thanks for watching, and hope I gave you a couple tips that might help you get the perfect relic. Anyways, see ya.